Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests and hosts of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the company or the show itself.
All right, hello, Explora bookworms, and welcome. This is Red, and today we sit down with an author in our exciting news segment here in Explora called Road to London. So our guest for today, he will be heading to London International Book Fair 2026. That's, pretty much happening this coming March in at Olympia, London. And he will be showcasing her books in the event, and he'll be signing copies as well live at the Explora booth. So if you are, let's just say, interested, or if you're interested to get a copy of this book, please make sure to stop by in our booth and get a signed copy from our guest for today, which is Mr. 𝘚𝘢𝘮𝘢. He's the author of this book, Beyond the Veil: Quest for the this is something that is, the spelling is actually not the same as how it needs to be pronounced.
Let me help you.
Yeah.
Samhain. It's pronounced Samhain.
Yep, there you go, guys. That's how you pronounce it. Actually, I had a hard time pronouncing this word earlier. I mean, it's so simple, actually, but, if you read or listen to it, but if you are trying to read the text, that's where, your brain tends to get a little bit confused about how to pronounce this book. So, Samhain, right? Samhain treasure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I didn't choose it for that reason. It's just what it is. It's the title of the fantasy. So
yeah. And this by the way, Curtis, before we start with your or before I want to ask everything about your book, it kind of intrigues me as well. This Samhain thing is an event, right? It's a certain tribal kind of thing in the past, right? Or even today in some other, or in Finland or something like that.
Well, it's in the Celtic Islands is where it is, which I perceive to be either Ireland or Scotland, somewhere in the islands there. I'm thinking probably Ireland. But it is a festival that originated back in the 1200s when the Romans invaded that part of the world and took over, and a lot of the cultural festivals continued with both Romans and the Celtic tribes. They're fierce people, very spiritual people. And so they have this festival, Samhain, which translates for us in the West as Halloween, and that's where it originated from. So the Samhain festival is when, in mythology, the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. And that's when all of the stuff happens between those two worlds, and it's a dreamlike world, and it's very ethereal, and that's when it happens. And they still celebrate the Samhain festivals to this day.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, I've been reading different kind of books in the past, and this is my first time seeing this word. Actually, I mean, I'm just being honest to you, okay? And that's why I had a hard time pronouncing it. I mean, I did my research about it when I got your book, but at some point, sometimes I get a little bit confused on how to pronounce this particular word. But before we dive into your book, I just wanted to make sure our readers or our viewers can also understand who's the expert behind this book. So I want to ask you this question, or can you tell us a little bit about Mr. 𝘚𝘢𝘮𝘢?
Well, I was very fortunate in my young life. I was able to do a lot of traveling as a young man. Even in high school, I lived in Southeast Asia, and that got me the travel bug in my bones. And so I've been fortunate enough to travel. I lived in Africa for over 3 years, and
Wow.
sorry about that.
It's all right.
And so that I actually owned, I kind of adopted two African gray parrots, which are the characters in the book, and I named them Sophie and Pierre. This was back in the late 70s is when I did this, and so they've been kind of in the back of my mind for a long time. Because of that, I was able to travel extensively through Russia and Ukraine and Europe. I've been very fortunate in my life with that. I most recently have been a teacher. I'm a retired science teacher. I taught for about 20 years, physics and chemistry and life science, some life sciences. And so I kind of understand the ethos behind young people and their desire for wanting to wonder and fantasize about things and travel and get answers. And so that's kind of my motivation for wanting to communicate to them this particular story, because I think it delves into the fear of leaving home and not sure if things are going to be okay. So it's a challenging kind of a book for the characters, because they'd never done this before and they had no idea what they were in for, and yet they persevered and followed through with it. So that's my
Wow.
story.
Well, thank you for sharing that to us, Curtis. But how long did it take you to really finish the whole book?
Oh, gee, I started this thinking back in late 2022, and I'd written a couple of children's books about Sophie and Pierre. They're picture books with stories and stuff, and I've written three of them. Two of them are published already. So that was kind of the impetus for me to want to delve into something with a little more theatrics and a little more depth of character to evolve what Sophie and Pierre, who they are, where they came from, and what their purpose is. And so that's why I decided to write a story about Halloween. And I just started doing research, and it just was so simple. They lived in a big giant tree in the Congo forest, rainforest, called 𝘚𝘢𝘮𝘢𝘠𝑛𝑦𝑐, which means Papa Home, ostensibly, is what it means. So I had them venture off on a journey branch, a magical journey branch, and they ended up, uh, they thought was just a Halloween celebration, a party, get a few gifts, and come home. And it turned into something quite a bit different for them.
Wow. And with this particular book, Curtis, did did you had any kind of a hard time, let's just say, finishing the book at some point? Because I mean, there's like characters, there's like this different kind of setting that I've noticed in this book as well. There's an adventure. There's, I would say, there's a combination of a mystery and adventure in this book. That's what I can say about it, as you know, as I am reading that book earlier. So yeah, did you have any kind of challenges, in writing this book, or finishing rather the book?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yes, yes. Before I even started into this book, I worked with a person who kind of helped me develop their character backgrounds for Sophie and
Hmm.
Pierre, and I had a fanciful image of them as being these dynamic two birds who had all these fine qualities, and that just wasn't real for me, because I wanted being anthropomorphic. I wanted them to experience what a person would experience, at the same level. And so I developed their characters and got as deep into their characters as I possibly could, and fortified that. And from there, I was able to develop the story within the framework of how they would act or react. And so that's how I did it. I've rewritten this a lot of times. I can't tell you how many endings I went through and had to finally re-edit the final. It's a labor of love. Most writers don't do this for anything but because they've got a story to tell and they just love what they do. And I've been telling stories to my students, most of them true, all of my adult life. And so I just like communicating information and knowledge and fun to that kind of age group. It's a middle grade, young adult kind of a genre. So.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that to us, Curtis. I mean, there's a lot of, young writers right now that might be watching this particular segment, and at least they can understand, how somehow difficult it is to write a story. I mean, it may be easy for someone to say, oh yeah, it just, you just have to write a story about a dog and a cat, create a scene, create a character about them, create some sort of like an adventure for them, but that's it. But the thing is that the most challenging part, just like what you said, you have to try to figure out how to end it, to make it exciting, to make it fun, to make it, like make people feel that, hey, I need a copy of this book. I need a part two of this book. You know, that's, I guess,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, the challenging part. It's not just about creating the characters or creating the scenes, but ending the story with a bang. I could put it that way. But why did you choose um someone or Soen rather, and Celtic lore as the heart of this story?
Well, the origins of my story were about Halloween, and I wanted to do I was actually going to do just a children's picture book and a short story about them visiting some place and celebrating Halloween and getting to some mischief. And it just sort of morphed on me and just kind of came out of as I continued to research and write. I decided this needs to be a little more in depth, and it became part of the Samhain festival, is because that's the origination of what we know as Halloween today. And even the mythical goddess Pomona, who is the goddess of trees and fruit, she's an actual literary person in the mythology of this whole thing. So the research that I did on it is accurate within the my capability of doing research, which I've been doing a lot only because I taught science. I had to do a lot of that. So I was adept at knowing how to research thing and filtering out the baloney from the truth. And
Right.
so, myth is myth a truth? Well, no, it's a myth by nature. So that's kind of where I came from with that. But it's a fantasy adventure book is really what it is, and I want the readers to be able to delve into it and get a grasp of the setting. And I tried to describe as much of the setting as I could with the smells and the look and the feel and how the characters reacted to it and what they felt and what they saw. And so I put a lot of effort into describing those things and help at the same time moving the story along with the characters' dialogue and them creating the plot scenes and the beats. It's writing a book is a lot harder than I originally thought at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot along the way, and there's so much to learn. You never are going to be at the top of your game. I will never achieve my opus. So someday perhaps, but I'm not holding my breath on
Well, yeah, just like what I mentioned, and like you said, we both agreed now it's easy to think and to plan that I'm gonna create a wonderful story, a wonderful book that people will gonna love it or something like that. But once you start holding the pen, writing the very first line, that's where the problem
it.
starts. The headache.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
the
And
overthinking.
I honestly don't. Yeah, and I don't consider it a problem. It's a privilege to me to be able to be even to do this. It really is. And I've worked, most of my life, and now I don't do that anymore. So I have a little more time to devote to this particular craft. But it's a learning process, and it just never ends for me. I've read a lot of books. I've got a mystery book I'm in the midst of as well. So my mind is going children and
Right.
adults with regard to the kind of
I
things.
mean, which is
So I'm
which
I'm
is
really
good.
focusing right now on yeah. It keeps me active. It keeps my mind creative and moving forward. And I'm never at a loss for how durable children are and their desire to want to create and go on adventures and learn and do and just have this sense of going and being and doing something. But also they need that structure of knowing there's a home to come home to. And that's really the basis of this is always a home.
Yeah, I agree. Curtis. But I would like to point out as well that this book of yours, or for our viewers today, who may not have any kind of idea how this book looks like at all, there's a lot of pictures in this book or illustrations, right? And do you have, or who's your, or are you the one who did this illustrations, or did you have to hire someone to do that for you?
I can barely draw a straight line with a ruler. And so I know my limitations, and my limitations are putting words on paper and communicating with people. And I will talk to anybody. I'm not embarrassed about that at all.
Yep.
And because I have such a background in travel, and I've been to different cultures and met so many really cool, interesting people, I have a lot that I can learn and talk to about. And I'm fascinated by people's stories. And that's really what I think is the essence of someone who can write a decent book. A book that wants to be read is to be able to listen to people's stories. Everyone has a story, and some of them are incredible, some of them are boring, but they're still their story. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that we can actually definitely learn from, different cultures. And if you are
Mm.
traveling just like what you did, you're gonna learn a lot. And I do believe that's where you can also enhance and improve your writing skills, because you can
Mhm.
use some of their cultures, some of their experiences that you had with a different, if you traveled from different countries or something like that, you tend to be
Yeah.
able to understand um their characters, or like how they are living in those particular countries, and then you can incorporate those characters and and put it in a, whatever characters that you're trying to build right now. But I would like to also, or I would like to also mention that in this book of yours, I've noticed that the world itself feels so, I would say, or yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm gonna have to restate my question. Sorry. Uh, just like what I mentioned earlier. Sorry about that. Just like what I mentioned earlier, Curtis, your book have some kind of a mystery and adventure kind of thing. Um, I wanted to understand, how did you build the balance between those kind of
Well, first of all, let me go back to my illustrator. My illustrator is going to be with me in London. She's agreed to go. She lives in Michigan, and so her name's Jamie Ruthenberg, and she embodied exactly the feel and the tone and the texture of what I wanted my characters and my birds and all of the setting to look like. And that's why we get along famously. She's so talented and self-taught, by the way. So she will be with me in London as well,
Wow.
for her sake, but also for the book's sake. So she's going to be part of this as well, and I'm very excited to have her. And I'm in the midst of writing a sequel right now. I've started seeing beats on chapter one, and so I've got that going. But what was the question? I'm sorry, because I got lost in talking about Jamie there.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think we got okay. So yeah, what I was trying to ask is that, how did you build a balance between mystery and
Oh,
adventure?
yeah. Well, I found that in the books that I've read that I kept reading and I wanted to read and find out about, there is a balance between what the characters do and what motivates them. What is the inciting what is it inside of them? What's the conflict inside that they are pursuing, whether it's a truth or a lie? And sometimes they're pursuing something that is a complete lie. They think themselves as something when in reality they're something different. And so the balance between them pursuing understanding that internal conflict that they have, that they've got to know, and this happens to be they felt they were abandoned by their family, by their parents 5 years prior in this book. And so part of their motivation internally is to find their parents and get answers for that. externally, they like going on adventures and meeting new people and animals and places and doing things. And so that's kind of the balance I tried to strike between what they felt that they themselves wanted to pursue, as opposed to juxtaposed to the actual festival, the Sound Festival, and the characters that they meet, and the evil spirits they come across, and the badgers, and the whole crew, the whole cast of characters are all leading to a point and stuff. And they come along a little bit at a time, and then they come all at once, and then they up and they're so I tried to keep the momentum moving, but at the same time, not overwhelm people with all of the depth that I could have gone into. So,
Yeah.
so the balance is critical. And to be perfectly frank with you, I'm going to find out how balanced it is by the sales that I get, by the people who are interested in purchasing and reading the book, and hopefully seeing the movie if we can get it that far. So,
Well, I'm pretty sure right now, our viewers might be thinking of, really buying this book already, because as what I've mentioned, or yeah, what we basically discussed here today, this book contains illustrations, so it gives readers the, I would say, the story, or really help them understand what's the story all about. So, every picture or every illustrations that I've noticed right there, it it somehow becomes or give us a better idea what that particular, um, let's say, page is all about. So that helps us imagine a certain, situation.
exactly. Yeah. And that's why I wanted Jamie to do what she did, because I really think, especially for middle grades and young adult, they I love seeing pictures in books, and it just gives me kind of a visual cue as to what the characters are in and where they are. I can imagine just through writing, if the writer, demonstrates the skill to be able to communicate to me what the setting is like without boring me to death about leaves and trails and stuff. But if I can see a picture, it'll give me kind of an idea as a cue to, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, this is where they are, and that just helps
Yeah,
the reader along, in my opinion. And
I,
so
I, I
that
agree.
that that's why I've included them in there. So.
Yeah, remember the time when we have like encyclopedias, right? They
Mhm.
put all these pictures next to those whatever descriptions
Mhm.
or things that they're saying right there, and that
Yes.
gives us the interest to learn more about that picture. And once you looked at the
So
picture, oh, that's a big dinosaur. Oh, what kind of dinosaur is this? Now I'm gonna have to read the
yeah,
description. Oh, this is what it is. Now I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And then you move on to
yeah.
the next page. There's another kind of animal that you probably haven't seen yet. Oh, what is this all about? Oh, then you read
Yeah.
again. That's a good thing of, the essence rather of having some illustrations in your book.
Mhm.
And I believe you basically, um, created a masterpiece here that can make everybody enjoy reading your book. So I guess my question right now, who's your target readers for this book?
Well, I think a good reader, age maybe 8 or 9, up to 14 for this particular book. My the construct I'm going on is based upon what data tells me, the kinds of words that I use and the reading level. That's kind of what I based it on. So anywhere from eighth grade, or pardon me, 8 years old up to 14 or 15, based upon the person. Some people are really into this fantasy thing, which is kind of the direction the fantasy adventure is moving now and stuff. And as far as the sequel goes, and that's kind of where I'm aiming. And as I write more books, and if it does become a sequelable, I don't know if that's a word or not, but it should be, series, then each progressive book is going to be a little more detailed, a little more advanced for those readers who started it to grow with the series itself and go a little deeper into it.
Well, let's just hope and pray that one day we'll be able to see this book of yours rather as one of those big movies in Hollywood, or in Netflix, for example. Netflix is pretty much famous right now
Yes, yes,
in doing some like books or adapting books from different authors and turn it into
mhm,
a movie. So yeah,
right.
I hope that's something that we can see rather in the future.
Yes,
But
I would love to see that.
yeah, I would like to also mention this that, or should I say, ask you this, that the creatures in your story or in the story, I would say they're unforgettable. But which one was the most fun or challenging to create for you?
Probably the most challenging was the Vex Shadows, the ethereal evil spirits that do a lot of, they've kind of controlled the realm and it's in darkness. And that's part of the fight of the book is for them to vanquish the Vex Shadows and remove them. And that's part of, uh, at the beginning, Sophie and Pierre had no idea what they were getting themselves into, but it evolved into that through a series of events. And so those were the hardest for me to imagine and communicate their essence and how evil they were and what they're capable of. And so that for me was the most difficult. The most fun for me was Pierre because I'm kind of Pierre. I'm a little
Mm.
bit I'm bold and a little not brash at all, but I'm certainly kind of like go off the deep end sometimes with the adventures I want to go on, and I act before I think sometimes. So I think that's most men, most males do that.
Yeah, I agree. But um, talking about Sophie and Pierre, they they are like the main character in this book of yours, right? They
Yes.
they face basically both magic and danger. But what do they, like, each character represent to you? Like what?
Well, Sophie is kind of a thought. Yeah. So Sophie's she's one of her conflicts is being abandoned by her family. And she has a little bit of fear. She's trying to protect Pierre. It's her younger brother, their siblings, and she feels like she has to help protect him and kind of nurture him a little bit because he's a bit of a knucklehead sometimes. But she has that internal conflict about what could have happened had they been, where they were when they came back to their home tree and their family had disappeared and stuff. And so that is her driving force, wanting to find what happened to her family and why they got abandoned because they're alone at this point now. And so the story is also about abandonment and
Oh,
finding peace with that and stuff. It's also about not retribution, but um, being redeemed. There's a character in there who goes the wrong way and at one point is kind of redeemed a bit at the end and stuff. And he goes on in the next book as being part of the clan. So um, Sophie is fighting that right there, but she also is adventurous, like her brother. Her brother just wants to go on adventures and stuff, and he secretly is in pain because of the abandonment as well, but not as much as Sophie. Didn't affect him quite as bad. At least that's the perception. The subtext of him being the way he is, I think, shows that he is very, very troubled by it as well. But um, but both of them have their own specific personalities and characteristics, and they're both bonded by their love for one another and the sibling love and familial love. So that's a very strong part of the book as well as knowing that they have each other to help get through troubled times.
well, thank you for sharing that to us, Curtis. So, before we go down to our few last questions here, I would like to ask if you have any social media accounts where they can follow you or check you out, or any kind of a website where they can find you?
I don't. I just have my own personal Facebook, and I rarely go on that just to see what people are doing. But with regard to this, I don't have a a an Instagram account. I don't have a TikTok account. I do have an Instagram account, but I only do it because when I get bored and I can't write anymore, my fingers are bled to the bone from typing. Then I do that just as a distraction to me. But
Mm.
that's something that I do have a website, but it's kind of a self-made thing. So as soon as Explora gets my book published and stuff, and it goes live, then I'm going to have a website created specifically for sophieandpierre.com. So that's where I'm at with that right now.
So that's the
So I don't
next.
have a media,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't have a media manager. I wish I did, but a man's got to know his limitations, and I know my limitations, and being a media manager is not one of them. So I've focused only on what I'm good at and what I can
Right.
do, and I'm counting on people who are good at what they do in that realm to kind of take over that, and I'm happy to let them do it.
Yeah, I agree. I myself, I don't even, um, I have Facebook. That's it.
Yeah,
I mainly use Facebook because that's where my wife, my kids wanted to communicate with me at some point whenever I'm
right.
away. But I do have Instagram, for the purpose of, being able to research some of the authors that I get to work with, like their information. So I need to research about them. So I have to look them
Mhm.
up. And
Yeah,
sometimes they don't have Facebook. They only have Instagram. So I don't have a choice. So I created my
right.
Instagram account. Not me specifically, but my son set it up for me. Um, and then I have Twitter, which I don't even use anymore. That's true. Sometimes they're just distractions. Especially
They are.
if you are a writer. But at some point in this modern world that we're living in right now, they're kind of useful, especially when it comes to promoting your material, promoting your craft, promoting your
Exactly. Yeah.
book, whatever things that you're doing, art. It could be music. There's a lot of individuals that can possibly, or that can be, your potential buyer, readers. And yes, if like you said, once you're done with your book, we're gonna look forward to see your how do you call this, your website. And we also hope that we can communicate with you directly with your Facebook account. So how can they find you in Facebook? They just have to type in your name.
Yes, they can do that. It's just type my name, Curtis Lind, and you're going to find me. And to be perfectly frank with you, I don't post very much on there, and I'm going to have to. I understand how critical it is to be socially engaged with all of this, and I do. I
Yeah.
understand it. I haven't done it. So you know, the shoe is going to drop here pretty quick where it's going to have to be done. I just am going to need somebody to be the lead on that and kind of take care of that. Just because I know what I can do and I know what I can't do and stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't want to do it poorly. I want to do it correctly and have it done
Correctly.
efficiently and stuff. So that's kind of why I'm hoping that somebody, either Explora or someone who sees this, contacts me and says, "Hey, I'm your girl, I'm your man, whatever." So we
Right.
can go down that road from there.
Whoever is the expert, contact Curtis Lind. Look him up in Facebook, Curtis Lind,
Yeah,
Curtislind, like Delta.
yeah.
We're gonna, you know, put
Or
it
you
on the
can email
screen.
me. I've got an email account as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you can email me at curtis@sophieandpierre.com as well.
there you go. Yeah, we're gonna flash that email address on the screen, so that our viewers can uh, get it right for you.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yep.
um, I would also like to, probably this is my very last question for you. I know you're kind of busy, man. Um, I wanted to ask, when listeners pick up the book, and let's just say after this, I mean, it's still in the process, right? Or after London Book Fair, for example, once they pick up the book, what do you hope they can? What do you hope they will experience on that, you know, first page or after reading the book? What do you want them to take out of this book?
That, there's cultures out there that people aren't aware of. And a lot of things happen that's so unaware is only because it's not popular or famous, especially when you have birds with human voices doing human things,
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's totally, it's a different world. But that's kind of where I put the birds in that realm, only because I wanted them to connect with the people who are actually going to be reading the book. And I want them to come away with, oh, that was a good story. I want to read the next one, or I want to see the movie, or I want to see a series or whatever, comes of this. That's
Yeah.
what I want from them. And I think the potential is there. I think this has the potential to be a very big thing, because this tree in Africa, 𝘚𝘢𝘮𝘰𝘢𝘺𝘡, he's a magical tree, and he has journey branches that take them all over the world to different worlds. And so the potential there is really big for this. So
Well, one thing that I would like to highlight as well, that you're not just going to enjoy reading this book, but you're going to learn some new stuff out of this book. Just like the word "sowen." I don't know about that. Not
Samhain,
until Samhain or Sa. Oh yeah.
Samhain.
I, I mean, I try it. I even practiced pronouncing that word probably 50 times earlier today, but I tend to get confused as I am looking at it because it spells differently than
Yeah, it spells Samhain, and
Yeah,
Samhain is not a word. It's Samhain. It
not
is pronounced Samhain.
that one. Yeah. So yeah, those are the things that you can, one of the example that you can learn out of this book. There's a lot more, and I don't want to talk about that today, and I don't want to spoil everyone. But once this book will be available, or how soon do you think this book will be available, Curtis?
They they told me that it was going to go live either this week or the first part of next week. So I'll get communicated from the people at Explora there, my contact there, and she'll keep me updated on that. But it should be live very soon, and it'll be on a lot of platforms, so it'll be available.
Right. And for you guys that are planning to go to London Book Fair or get a copy of this book, please check him out next week or maybe
Yeah.
a couple of weeks from now. Curtis Lynn in Amazon, and look for the book. We're gonna flash that book title on the screen right now. That's Beyond the Veil: Quest for the Samhain Treasure.
Well done.
Okay, thank you. That's an approval from the author himself. But yep, check that out in Amazon, Barnes and Noble, eBay, you name it, whatever book online retailers that you may know right
Yes.
now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be
Yes.
available right there.
There is, and they're also, sorry for interrupting. There is an audio version as well that's already published and out. So
Wow. Okay. Well, that's better because, as we all know, everybody's busy. They don't have much time sometimes
all
to
right, yeah, yeah,
read. You know, I
yeah.
I better listen to that book as I am cooking, making spaghetti. you know, that would be a good thing
Yeah,
to listen
yeah,
to. But
yeah.
okay, so a couple of weeks from now, it's going to be available in Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and pretty much most, like most
Should be all
online.
over. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, great, great.
yeah.
And you're going to be
Whatever
in London.
platforms. Yes, I am. Looking forward to it. I'm
All
booked
right.
and ready to go.
Wow. Well, I hope you will definitely provide some joy to those children or who will be visiting or who will be part of this London Book Fair 2026, Curtis. And yeah, I really thank you for your time today. I know you're a very busy man, and you're writing another book right now, right?
Yes, yep. Sequel. I'm working on a sequel. Yep.
Wow.
And when I
Well,
can, I slip in the murder mystery that I'm writing. But right now, I'm just working on the sequel.
so that's the next thing from 𝘚𝘚𝘮𝘰𝘀.
Yes.
Well, we'll see, or how soon can we see that sequel that you're talking about?
Well, gee whiz, I don't know. I'm only into it about 2 weeks now and stuff. So, and these things, if I push, of course, I've got to get prepared for London. I'm going to do
Yeah,
that, but if I
right,
push,
right.
it'll be, at least, I don't know, 5, 6 months out before I can wrap it up. And
That's a
because my
normal thing.
editors are brutal, they're
Yeah,
brutal. They're say, oh no, 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 not good, Nanook. You need to fix this. So
yeah,
that's where my rewrites come from. But it's a process. You learn, you get better, and all of a sudden, oh, this is good. I don't have to change it.
yeah.
Oh no,
That means you care about your book.
I do. I'm very passionate about that. I don't want to
Thank
put
you.
out a
Thank you for
product that
doing
is
that.
not readable. If I wouldn't read it, I'm not gonna promote it. So
Yep, exactly. That's where the confidence comes from. When you have, you know, a very good book, when you know that you review the book millions of times, you know, you're not gonna you're not gonna even like think if do I need to promote the book or do I need to continue promoting the book? Because you have the confidence in you that yes, this is indeed a good book, and all you gotta do is pick up my book, read a few pages, and you're gonna love it. Well,
I
that's
hope,
the
yeah.
confidence that I'm, looking as well, Curtis. But yes, again, if you're planning to be at London Book Fair, please make sure to stop by, check Curtis Lynn's book. He will be signing copies right there. Get a copy from him, and picture if you are also into that. And what else they can expect from you in this particular event, Curtis?
Well, I know I'm going to be having an interview there, and I'm going to be joined with my illustrator because Jamie is going to be there, and we're going to kind of co-work together. And the sequels, she's going to be part of that as well.
Oh,
So she hopefully she's going to be very busy with my books. She's also an author
yeah.
and does her own, but she's
Oh,
committed to me and stuff. So that's
that's
good. So
good.
we've got a good working relationship. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So.
Well,
She talks a lot though.
just like me.
Sorry, Jamie.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
So
At least you guys can communicate, and she's not just. I mean, when an
yes.
illustrator knows how to talk a lot, then that's a good illustrator. You know. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, I
um,
listen to her. She's good at what she does, and so I defer to her oftentimes. I give a few of what my thought process is about what I think it should look like as far as the scene goes, but she fulfills all of those things more than
well,
I can ever expect. So
that's good. That definitely she's a good illustrator because again, providing them ideas about what you're thinking right now is definitely difficult to create the output, or the drawings
yes.
or whatever you're trying to achieve. But if you are like what you have in this book, you're satisfied with it. That means she's a good one, and you're
Yes.
communicating with her, properly as well. So that's a good thing. Communication is always the key to be able to, create a masterpiece like the one that you have right now. But then again,
Exactly. Exactly.
one last reminder: check him out in this upcoming London Book Fair 2026, Mr. Curtis Lynn. And yeah, thank you so much again, Curtis, for your time. I wish I could extend our time for today's interview, but definitely we're gonna talk more about your book on this particular event, which is the London Book Fair. We will be doing some interviews as well for you on site or during the event. Okay.
That's very good. Thank you. I appreciate your time as well.
All right. Thanks a lot again for watching. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and check our website, explorabooks.com. Till next time. Bye-bye.